Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your captain speaking. On behalf of the entire crew, welcome aboard Whiskyfile Spirit Airlines. Not actually affiliated with Spirit Airlines, just simply a joke about whiskey. Plus, we give you comfier seats, more legroom, and we offer full beverage services on all of our flights, including select whiskeys from my private collection. We're happy with you to join us for non-stop service from New York to Baltimore. Now our flight time is going to be roughly about an hour. It's actually going to be a little bit less. We're going to have a cruising altitude of, I'm guessing, probably about 38,000 feet. And looking at the weather, it's going to be a bit foggy. But once we're above these clouds, it should be quite nice flying into Baltimore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up a little bit of paperwork. If you notice, we're actually in a bit of a different plane. The glass cockpit in here, which glass cockpit means you have these screens and whatnot. It's basically we're flying something a little different because it is a shorter jaunt. Given that Baltimore is not quite all that far away. I mean, you can easily drive from Maryland to New York. It's quite easy. But yeah, it should be a pretty nice simple flight. So the 787 seems like a bit of overkill to fly all that way. So what we are going to be doing is we are actually going to be flying in a 737. You notice I made a different livery for this. Oh man, is it socked in. We could be here for a little while. Also, whoever parked my plane, the jetway is a little bit wonky. It's not actually connected yet because we haven't started that. But once we finish up some additional things, I will get everything started up. You know, in times like these, I should probably actually make music or something like that play. It'd be kind of fun. Yeah, a little Chuck Mangione. Something good for the weight. Be nice. And because it's gonna go, and we'll open up WSA Flight Radio. So if you are on the GLR server, I do have that open and happy for you to join me. I should have it for the desktop audio. So if anyone wants to join, just let me know. I will make sure your audio goes live. And my girlfriend has just sent me a, based on the actual Nick Offerman limited edition Lagavulin run, she just sent me a thing for the Lagavulin distillery, signed Duke Sylvan, and she just said that I need that. She is a pretty big fan of Parks and Rec. Alright, let's pull up the stream. Alright, let's get things started up. Now, this plane is designed by a third party, so things are a little bit wonky. There we are. We've got our weights. We've got that. Excellent. Let's pull the checklist. I'll pull it off onto the side screen here, but I'm going to explain what I'm doing here. So, first things first, we're going to come up to our overhead here, and we're going to turn on the batteries. So put standby power to auto. That and that. So there's the battery switches. Now it does say external power. That's external power. What's funny is, yes, fine, we'll tilt that down because that is very important because it really wants me to do that. You actually can't click on it. I don't know why. It's because they're stupid. Really annoys me. But flip those back down. I mean, even when you press the highlight thing, it doesn't show anything. So we'll just ignore it. We got battery power. We'll be fine. Engine generators. That's these two bad boys over here. So we'll flip on this guy. Flip on this guy. Wait just a little bit. And then we'll turn on the bleeds. That's those guys. Okay. Now we'll turn on the APU master switch. First, I've got to put up the heads-up display because, again, Asobo has not figured out how to do collisions because clearly when my mouse is here, it wants me to click over here. It's because it's stupid just a little bit. So turn that on. And we'll turn on the APUs. There we are. APU will start up. You can hear it starting up there. That's the little turbine again on the back. Helps get the engine started up. So that's good. We'll get the bleed going. First, we want to make sure to tilt down the heads-up display because, again, that is very important for the checklist. Yeah, I'm being a little salty about that. We're not connected to external power. We'll turn on the fuel pumps. Make sure to tilt that up again. Really, that is useless. Turn on crossfeed here. And lastly, we'll turn on the beacon. Which one is it? This guy. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm also going to tune into ground here. Get our IFR clearance.
Kennedy ground Whiskyfile 1765 IFR to Baltimore, ready to copy.
Whiskyfile 1765 is cleared to Baltimore Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 22 right climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Departure frequency is 1 tree, 4 decimal tree, 5 squawk tree, 245.
Whiskyfile 1765 cleared to Baltimore Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 22 right climb and maintain 8,000 feet. Departure on 1 tree, 4 decimal tree, 5 squawk tree, 245.
Whiskyfile 1765, read back is correct. Contact ground on 121 decimal 65 when ready to taxi. Good day.
Alright, well.
Kennedy ground Whiskyfile
Let's get that jetway
1765.
connected.
Could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
See if it'll actually connect.
Whiskyfile 1765, the jetway is going to be connected.
Well, let's try. Gonna sort of mush into my plane. Make sure you watch your step as you're boarding the aircraft. Sometimes this game is a crack up. Alrighty. Now we'll just disconnect that, and a little bit. What we're gonna do is, well, now that that is done, move on to starting up the engines. We're gonna actually push back. So I'm gonna go back to clearance here. Come on.
Kennedy ground Whiskyfile 1765 with Sierra ready to taxi IFR.
Whiskyfile 1765, taxi to and hold short runway 22 right via taxiway Delta Bravo. Bravo Delta Bravo cross runway 31 right Delta Bravo Foxtrot Bravo cross runway 22 right Foxtrot Bravo Yankee Echo. Contact tower on 123.9 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 22 right using taxiway Delta Bravo cross runway 31 right Delta Bravo Foxtrot Bravo cross runway 22 right Foxtrot Bravo Yankee Echo Whiskyfile 1765.
Yeah, at least the game got that. I did not. Go back to ground service here. Jetway disconnection.
Kennedy ground Whiskyfile 1765. Could you please disconnect the jetway from the aircraft?
Y'all are on board anyways, so should be fine. But before we go, of course, gotta do safety video.
We're flying in a Boeing 737-8 MAX.
Now please take a moment and pay attention as we go through the safety information for this aircraft. When the seatbelt sign illuminates, you must fasten your seatbelt. Insert the metal fittings one into the other and tighten by pulling on the loose end of the strap. To release your seatbelt, lift the upper portion of the buckle. We suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight, as we may experience turbulence. There are several emergency exits on this aircraft, 2 forward, 2 over the wing, and 2 aft. Please take a few moments to locate your nearest exit. In some cases, your nearest exit may be behind you. If we need to evacuate the aircraft, floor-level lighting will guide you towards the exits. Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. If you are seated next to an emergency exit, please carefully read the special instructions card located by your seat. If you do not wish to perform the functions described in the event of an emergency, please ask a flight attendant to reseat you. Each door is equipped with an inflatable slide, which may also be detached and used as a life raft. In the event of a water landing, a life vest is located in the pouch under your seat or between the armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest. Slip it over your head. Pass the straps around your waist and adjust it at the front. To inflate the vest, pull firmly on the red cord, only when leaving the aircraft. If you need to refill the vest, blow into the mouthpiece. Your seat cushion can be used as a flotation device. Pull the cushion from the seat, slip your arms into the strap, and hug the cushion to your chest. And please note, the doors are not flotation devices. Oxygen and air pressure are always being monitored in the event of a decompression. An oxygen mask will automatically appear in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you, place it firmly over your mouth and nose, secure the elastic band behind your head, and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you are traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask on first and then assist the other person. Keep your mask on until a crew member advises you to remove it. At this time, your portable electronic devices must be set to airplane mode until an announcement is made upon arrival. If you noticed your video stream has stopped, that's because you fell for that and I will never get tired of that joke. We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight, even though some of you think you look cool doing it. Tampering with, disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors located in the lavatories is prohibited by law. You will find this and all other safety information in the card located in the seat pocket in front of you. If you do not have a seat pocket in front of you, you're probably not actually on a plane, which we don't find all that surprising. We strongly suggest you read this card before takeoff, and good luck if you don't have one. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask one of our crew members or in the chat next to the video. So sit back, relax, and when we're safely at cruising altitude, pour yourself a glass and enjoy your flight on Whiskyfile Spirit Airlines.
Ground Whiskyfile 1765 requesting pushback.
Whiskyfile 1765, pushback request accepted.
Well, now that was a nice little safety video there. If you notice that I did put in the footage for the
Kennedy ground Whiskyfile 1765
737
requesting
Max.
pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the right.
Whiskyfile 1765, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Of course, taking that time to edit that in. I pulled all game footage. I just didn't have the time to find a model for it, so that's the reason why that one's the way it is.
Kennedy ground Whiskyfile 1765 requesting the end of pushback.
Whiskyfile 1765 request to end pushback received.
Alrighty, let's get these engines started. So, first things first, check to see that throttle is in fact idle. It's idle. Let's see here. Select that. Ignition. That's ignition. We always start engine 2 first. That's how Boeings do their thing. Now his is starting up now, which is nice. Let's actually switch that up and we'll give this a bit more range. Funny is the way that dial works in this plane works correctly. The way it works in the 787 is not. Actually, it's in reverse, which is really, really confusing. Side here. Little showcase. Alright, that's stable enough to speed. Let's flip on the other one. Perfect. So, let's get this road on the show. There we are. Turning on the line here. Yeah, the default angle for this one is not the best. Now, fun facts about the 737 MAX here that we are flying. It was grounded back in March of 2019 after 2 crashes in Ethiopia and Indonesia. Now that you're already strapped in, you can't get off, so good luck. Any marshals will put you back in your seat. the reason for that is actually quite interesting because it comes down to the design of the aircraft itself. You know, Boeing, and really Airbus does the same thing too, where they pretty much create an airframe for a series of aircraft. And then they just engineer it to be, ooh, that's a big plane. Yeah, they just engineer it to be what it needs to be. Stop here. I'm going to assume the runway is clear. I'm not being told otherwise.
Kennedy ground, Endeavour 49er, 80 taxi to the gate.
Endeavour 49er, 80 taxi to gate Charlie 31 using taxiway Zulu Hotel. Cross runway 4 left hotel.
We're good. Really how to actually link brakes to
Taxiing
this.
to gate Charlie 31 via
Makes
taxiway
things a
Zulu
little easier.
Hotel. Cross runway 4 left hotel. Endeavour 49er, 80.
But if you notice, the 737 sits pretty low on the ground. And the reason for that was, well, this plane was actually originally designed in 1964. Now, of course, the body, the materials, even the construction process has in fact changed. Okay, Endeavour is yeah, we're just quickly getting across the runway there. I just don't like being in the way. Quite a wonky way to do this, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, the reason why it's so low to the ground is, well, the 737 being designed in the 1960s, you know, they were trying to accommodate small airports that hadn't quite upgraded for the big boys that were coming. Yeah, you had your 747s, you had your 707s, but a lot of them were still running prop planes and other things too. The jet age was not as ubiquitous as it is now. So this plane was pretty low to the ground. And, well, while it didn't provide a problem in the 1960s, or the 1970s, or the 1980s when they debuted the, actually no, it was the 1970s when they debuted the Classic, or in the 1990s when they debuted the Next Gen. But it started to become a problem with the Max, where they had to actually mount the engines higher on the wing and more forward, which changed the balance of the aircraft. Now it's funny, because my first few flights in this were not very successful. So we're going to hopefully
Kennedy Tower Whiskyfile 1765 ready for IFR departure runway 22 right.
Whiskyfile 1765 altimeter.
Hopefully be okay there.
73 wind 1903 at tree 4. Cleared for takeoff runway 22 right.
Cleared for takeoff runway 22 right. Whiskyfile 1765.
Alright. See, the thing is, and the reason why I'm being very cautious, I'm going to be cautious with my takeoff too, is those two jets, they crashed on takeoff, essentially, but just after. Turn on the lights. Oh, this should be off. APU should be off. Check looks good. Oops, we had already checked these off. Alright. Let's get going. That's not legal. I had clearance.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact New York departure on 134.35. Good day.
134.35 Whiskyfile 1765. New York departure Whiskyfile 1765 is at 3,200 feet, climbing 8,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, New York departure altimeter 29.7 tree. Continue as planned.
Alrighty. We're in the air. Flaps are going up. And there we are, folks. Heading off to Baltimore now. If you could see it, New York is actually pretty much off that way. But sadly it is sucked in.
Bank angle.
Yes, I know bank angle. You're fine. It's at 30 degrees.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact New York Center on 121.125. Good day.
121.125 for Whiskyfile 1765. New York Center Whiskyfile 1765 is at 9,000 feet, descending 8,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, New York Center, altimeter 29.7 tree, continue to Haiti as planned.
Yeah, we accidentally went
Whiskyfile
just a little
1765,
bit.
contact New York departure on 134.35. Good day. Brickyard 4725, contact New York departure on 120.4. Good day.
134.35 for Whiskyfile 1765.
There it goes.
120.4.
New York departure Whiskyfile 1765 is passing 9,100 feet, descending 8,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, New York departure altimeter 29.7 tree. Continue to Haiti as planned.
Now we are, of course, the reason why we ascended there is it, I guess, was still locked on the 10,000 that it was set before.
Whiskyfile 1765, climb and maintain 15,000 feet.
15,000, yes ma'am.
Climb and maintain 15,000 feet Whiskyfile 1765.
But yeah, so when the 737 was designed in the 60s, it actually had the engine cowlings fully through the entire wing. It was actually kind of I mean, it's sort of like the old de Havillands and stuff like that.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Boston Center on 132.3.
A plane flying underneath us. I think it's climbing. That almost was bad.
132.3 Whiskyfile 1765.
We're fine. Everything is fine. So let's some weather data going. There we go. Now, they changed it to a pylon setting, which is basically the standard for all jets in the classic era, which is 1970s-ish. And then they
Boston Center Whiskyfile 1765 is at 11,400 feet, climbing 15,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, Boston Center altimeter 29.72, continue to heavy as planned.
But then they changed it from the inset on the wing to the pylon, just because it's easier on the wing. It doesn't create as many vibrations. They've had some problems as well. So classic era ran from the 70s to probably the 90s. You had the 300 and 400 and 500 series. Then you had the next gen series, which is what started in the 90s and really took hold in the 2000s when there was high gas prices. And so everyone started adopting the next gen, and Boeing, after developing the 787, decided to put those technologies to use in all of their other planes. So the 47 and the 37, they got these bigger engines, more composites, and arguably better planes. But this one in particular, because of its low stance, had a bit of a problem. It wanted to pitch up.
1765, climb and maintain flight level 210.
Climb and maintain flight level 210 Whiskyfile 1765.
And you don't want your plane to pitch up without you telling it to. And so what they did was they actually developed something called MCAS, which is what is it called? I've got some notes over here on it. Where's the MCAS? A little bit of rain out there. There's some intermittent. We're fine. So MCAS is the maneuvering characteristic augmentation system. What it does is it essentially pitches down when you accelerate. But if you're stalling, you don't want that. And so it caused some problems in Indonesia and Ethiopia. But these engines are really, really incredible. They are I've got the name of the engines written down. They are called the CFM LEAP 1B engines. And these engines were developed sort of in tandem with the Rolls-Royce engines of the 787. And they are developed by it's a joint venture essentially between GE and Safran Aircraft Engines, formerly I believe it's pronounced SNECMA, SNECMA. Now, GE is very common for making engines for the US and Boeing, but what made them really unique is actually what's called, so these engines here. Now, what made those engines unique is that they have a very high bypass ratio for a turbofan jet engine. Now, jet engines of the past.
Boston Center Exejet 627 is passing 16,200 feet, descending 10,000 feet.
Jet engines of the past.
Execute 627, Boston Center altimeter 29.72, continue as planned.
Turbofans of the past say the 90s, really the classic generation.
1765 contact New York Center on 121.125. Good day.
And even the
121.125
next gen,
Whiskyfile 1765.
that their bypass ratio, which is the ratio of the turbofan intake compared to the actual compressor,
New York Center Whiskyfile 1765, flight level 210.
so it's pretty much this
1765 New York Center, continue to Manta as planned.
compared to the fans in here. And
File 1765 climb and maintain flight level 260.
Climb and maintain flight level 260 Whiskyfile 1765.
and so the bypass ratio of
Jet speed 909 or contact Boston Center on 132.3. Good day.
of those older engines was like 1 to 5, 1 to 6, something like that. But the bypass ratio of these engines
132.3 jet speed 909er.
was over 1 to 10, which is pretty high. Now the reason for that is actually for efficiency. Now, if you want power and you don't care about efficiency, you want a low bypass ratio.
New York Center, air from 682 is at flight level 380, descending 10,000 feet.
1 to 1.5, 1 to 2.
Continue as planned.
Small engine jets, like little exec jets and stuff like that, that need that, but don't really have the ability to mount large engines, they'll use that. Or fighter jets. Fighter jets are a perfect example of needing power over efficiency. But for jetliners, where fuel is one of the main costs, that the efficiency is needed. Now these engines, don't get me wrong, are very powerful.
Endeavor 4846, you are 25 miles south. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTO in transition. Clear to NRTO end.
But with such a high bypass ratio, these engines are some of the most efficient flying in the skies today. And it's the reason why the 737 went from
Descend and
being
maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTO in transition. Clear to NRTO in Endeavor 4846.
a regional jet to being
Endeavor 4846, contact
a
New York
national
approach
jet
on
for the United States, which is
132.4.
pretty impressive.
Good day.
I mean, Southwest used to
132.4 for Endeavor 4846.
operate on a lot of hops, and I can hop on a Southwest jet now. Southwest uses an exclusive 737 fleet. Southwest flights will go from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States, which is really impressive. And what's great is it gives flexibility to the airliners to use these planes for, domestic flights and even international flights. So what they can do is they can load it up for a small flight, say in the morning, then do an international flight in the through to the evening, and then fly it out for another domestic flight later on. They don't have to load up the plane like you would, say, a large 747.
1765 climb and maintain flight level 380.
Climb and maintain flight level 380 Whiskyfile 1765.
Like a 730, or like a 747 or an Airbus A380. And so you're able to move people faster
New York
and more
Center,
direct.
generic November 455 Quebec Sierra is at 4,200 feet, climbing 10,000 feet.
Generic November 455 Quebec Sierra New York Center altimeter 29.72. Continue to plunge as planned. Generic 5 Quebec Sierra contact New York approach on 134.35. Good day. Air France 682 contact New York Center on 118.975. Good day.
134.35 generic 5 Quebec Sierra. 118.975 for Air France 682.
Niner 75. Good day.
118.975 Whiskyfile 1765.
JetBlue 678, you are 44 miles south. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTO in transition. Clear to NRTO N.
New York Center Whiskyfile 1765 is at flight level 280 climbing flight level 380.
Whiskyfile 1765 New York Center, continue to Manta as planned.
Now, what's going to be interesting is with this aircraft, it's actually got a...
Maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTO in transition. Clear to NRTO in JetBlue 678.
It's actually got a pretty impressive autopilot system that these developers have made for it. And it's a lot easier to approach, but it does do something kind of dumb. About halfway into your upwind approach, which is, no, downwind approach, which is sort of when you're going opposite the runway and looping around, and it just kind of stops. So we're gonna hopefully be just fine. I've actually been able to land this plane rather successfully, which is rare for me if you've watched any of the other streams. We've been intermittent in our landings, but hopefully we'll be okay on this one. Now, I never actually turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, but just remember, no smoking. But you can move about the cabin. So let's go through the actual script just for gets and shiggles. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. I have turned on and then back off the fasten seatbelt sign because I forgot to turn it off during takeoff. And you may now move about the cabin. However, we always recommend to keep your seatbelt fastened while you're seated. In a few moments, the flight attendants will be passing around the cabin to offer you some snacks. We are not offering meal services on this flight, fortunately, due to the short jaunt that this is. As to be expected, alcoholic drinks are also available without compliments. As always, we have an assortment of whiskey, and given that it is the morning, I will not be imbibing, but I did enjoy some Sonoma rye whiskey from California earlier. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight, and thank you for flying Whiskyfile Spirit Airlines.
125.7 JetBlue 678.
128.3 Whiskyfile 1765. New York Center Whiskyfile 1765 is at flight level 325 climbing flight level 380.
ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTO in transition. Clear to NRTO in.
Oh, look, a friend request from Rockley.
Continue to drift as planned.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTO in transition. Clear to NRTO in JetBlue 1402.
So looking at the map here, you know, like I said, this is a quick jaunt. We're basically just going around New Jersey, gonna fly over Delaware and into Maryland. Actually, it's a bit over the Chesapeake Bay. Chesapeake Bay is actually a really pretty area. Gets a lot of weird storms and stuff like that, but hopefully it is clear enough for us to land. I should probably look at my briefing here and check and see. Oh, we basically just loop back and send you back to New York if we have to divert. Now, why are we flying to Baltimore today? Well, one of my GLR buddies lives in Maryland, and I figured, yeah, let's fly into one of the major airports around him. I fly into BWI all the time. whenever I'm visiting family. I got family that lives in Delaware, and yeah, so BWI is usually the easiest airport to fly into. I got a plane somewhere down there. Reason why I can tell is that little triangle there. There's another one beyond there. Let's see where that plane is going. EXE302.
Going to 118.975 JetBlue 1402.
EXP. Is that right? We'll assume him, right? Ah, they're flying up to New Haven in Connecticut. No. The XP is a Velo, which I'm not familiar with that carrier. Now we can probably increase the range on this guy. Check and see my approach there. So we are within about 80 miles of Baltimore now.
Avion Express Tree 02, contact New York Center on 118.975. Good day.
Now I've got a race later today. If you want to go check out Diakabub's
Going to 118.975 Avion Express Tree 02.
EDTM.
New York Center at Marine 84 is passing flight level 205, descending 10,000 feet.
That will probably be up on the TMK server, but it's a fun race.
Continue to NRTON as planned.
Now we're going to be doing an international flight after this next week. We're going to be flying across the Atlantic Ocean here. And we'll of course be back in the 787 for that long haul. We're going to be flying into Heathrow, most likely. And then do some regional jaunts. I actually might get back in the SR-22 and do some fun flights like that.
1765, contact Washington Center on 124.775. Good day.
Going to 124.775 Whiskyfile 1765. Washington Center Whiskyfile 1765 flight level tree 80.
Whiskyfile 1765 Washington Center. Continue to Briggs as planned.
Now for my buddy Mikey, he just recently got Flight Simulator. To give you an idea, buddy, of
American 6.
what I'm talking about for overspeeding. See that red ribbon there, this sort of powerful thing? This will actually drop down as my speed increases. And you don't want to stress out the airframe that way. This, of course, is your speed. That's your Mach number. I'm flying at 0.77 Mach right now. This is my altitude in feet. That's barometric pressure, what I've set up here.
10,000 feet, expect ILS runway 22 left approach via NRTON transition clear to NRTON American 621.
This here is vertical speed indicator. It's actually logarithmic. So this line, as it stretches down, will actually stretch shorter as it goes faster. But as it gets closer here, it's much easier to maintain altitude because you can kind of see the changes that are going on. This, of course, is the nav ball. You have the crosshairs here. That's the flight director. That's my path here, basically keeping me fairly centered. I've got LNAV and VNAV going. What else? Got my auto throttle here, so actually the VNAV is taking care of that. And what we will be doing is I will be killing this as we come into approach.
American Golf Juliet, you are 9 or 1 mile southwest.
I will hit this when the plane starts to deviate, and I will take manual flight.
Via Foxtrot Romeo transition. Clear to Foxtrot Romeo. American 621, contact New York Center on 128.3.
Okay, I'll get to see a full-fledged landing.
American Golf Juliet, you are 8 miles southwest of Republic.
That's a cool shot. It's a nice plane.
128 decimal tree for American 621.
Oh, that's something I forgot to turn off. That's embarrassing. These guys should be off. Those can stay on. That's embarrassing. I just always forget about that. Yeah, those are just landing lights. It's nothing critical. To be honest, there's probably FAA violations for it.
5759er is passing flight level 290, descending 10,000 feet.
No, we are going to be...
5759er Washington Center, continue as planned.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will be starting our descent shortly. So the flight attendants will be coming around the cabin, and actually, I'm a little early. My bad. Turn that back off for you, safely inside the cabin. It's actually a fairly smooth flight. We're not getting any turbulence, not really moving around too much. It's quite a delight. I thought it would start descending me by the time I hit Avalon, but apparently not. So that's cool.
Endeavor 5153, contact New York Center on 128 decimal tree.
Most of these don't actually do things. Now, if you're wondering how planes steer, that's the steering lever, and you do it with your feet as well. It's quite an interesting little
Going to 128
juggling
decimal
act.
tree. Endeavor 5153.
That's the nav computer and everything, so you can actually type in things if you wanted to. It's a pain. Put the yoke back in here. So, all my checklist stuff. Probably should have turned on anti-icing, but I did not. I'll be fine.
Washington Center, JetBlue 179er tree is passing flight level 245, descending 10,000 feet.
Now it's hard to see given that we are socked in.
Center, continue as planned.
Again, a lot of low cloud cover all across the eastern seaboard here. And so what we will be doing is a full ILS landing. It's going to be a bit challenging, given that we will not be able to see the runway. We are just going to have to trust our instruments. So that's going to be stressful.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Washington Center on 125.45. Good day.
Going to 125.45 Whiskyfile 1765. Washington Center Whiskyfile 1765 flight level tree 80.
Now we are currently flying
Whiskyfile
over
1765 Washington Center, continue to Sierra India Echo as planned.
the lower tip of
American
New Jersey.
1767, contact Washington Center on 124.775. Good day. Executive Flight 0 in contact Washington Center on 124.775. Good day.
So those of you who hate yourself, that technically is a Jersey Shore.
Whiskyfile 1765, descend and maintain flight level 280.
Descend and maintain flight level 280 Whiskyfile 1765.
Washington Center JetBlue 426 is passing flight level 290, descending 10,000 feet. JetBlue 426 Washington Center, continue as planned.
Alright. Now I can do this.
124.775 for exit jet 508.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we start our descent, please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full and upright position. The flight attendants are currently passing around the cabin to make their final compliance checks and pick up any remaining cups and glasses. Make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bins. Thank you. Now, if you're wondering what this heads-up display is, yeah, it doesn't work. They haven't done that yet. So it really annoys me that it gets pulled down and up every time I'm doing my checklist, because it doesn't show anything. It should show you some of the information that's down here. It'll show your speed, show your altitude, show your level, show your heading.
JetBlue 426, contact Washington Center on 124.775. Good day.
Just to show you the efficiency of these engines, I put about 35% fuel in.
124.775
Actually, no, I put it in
426.
30. I think I put in less. Yeah, these engines are incredible. Now, for those of you who are not Boeing diehard fans like I am, and think, oh, Airbus is cool too. Yes, they are. They're doing the exact same thing.
1360 is passing flight level 330, descending 10,000 feet.
Now, in talking about bypass ratios before, Airbus actually has bigger ratios than Boeing does, but Boeing's engines are actually a little bit more efficient. It comes down to the sort of chevrons on the side here.
754, contact Washington Center on 124.775. Good day.
.775 for Delta 2754.
Now, we are actually getting a pretty strong headwind right now. It's about a 70 knot headwind. So we're only doing 335 knots, which is about 400 miles an hour, give or take. 600 something kilometers per hour if I'm doing math sort of right. Taking shortcuts, don't worry. But our airspeed is pushing over 400, so it just shows you how strong that headwind is. But you know, we're just sort of cruising. And it's actually sort of a good thing, because it sort of allows me to take my time and really plan out everything.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Washington Center on 132.05.
As I'm coming in for the approach.
Going to 132.05 Whiskyfile 1765. Washington Center Whiskyfile 1765 is passing flight level 300, descending flight level 280.
Whiskyfile 1765, Washington Center, continue to LAFLN as planned.
Okay, so we're gonna range here. Now, the auto throttle in this, especially when you're coming in for approach, is actually really impressive, because it will keep you just above minimum speed.
Washington Center, American 1440 is at flight level 200, descending 10,000 feet.
At whatever,
American 1440, Washington Center, continue as planned.
it'll keep you at minimum speed, basically at whatever flap setting you have. So, you know, you can put it down to about 120 knots and fly around at 30 degrees flaps. It's ill-advised, but you can do it.
Southwest 1576, contact Washington Center on 125.45. Good day. Going to 125. 135.45 Southwest 1576.
Now, in case you're wondering about, what kind of planes will be flying next, any,
Washington Center American 1356 is passing flight level 270, descending 10,000 feet.
American 1356 Washington Center, continue as planned.
any requests or anything like that, if you ever want to go to a location or something like that.
1765, descend and maintain flight level 180.
I'll certainly be flying around Heathrow.
Washington Center American 1752 is at flight level 200, descending 10,000 feet.
American 1752 Washington Center, continue as planned.
Descend and maintain flight level 180 Whiskyfile 1765.
Whiskyfile 1765, traffic is 4 o'clock 2 miles at flight level 240 generic. Report them in sight. American 1440, traffic is 11 o'clock 2 miles at flight level 275 Boeing.
Yep, I see 'em.
Report them in sight.
Whiskyfile 1765, have the generic in sight.
American 1440, have the Boeing in sight.
Now, what was I going to say? I got distracted there. Completely lost my train of thought.
American 1356, contact Washington Center on 125.45. Good day.
Oh yeah, if you want to request an aircraft for me to fly on any journeys or something like that, feel free. I like flying jetliners. They're fun, they're big, they're fast. And they're a bit complicated. Provides a fun challenge for me. So, yeah, we'll be doing, like I said, we're going to be doing a transatlantic flight at some point across Heathrow. Might be the next one, might be the one after.
Is passing flight level 320, descending 10,000 feet.
United 1240, Washington Center, continue as planned.
Yeah, it's actually getting a little bit clearer here. It's like partly cloudy, but then you got all that there, that sort of wall of clouds that way is where we're going, which means we're gonna get some rain. I mean, what do you expect flying into Maryland in the middle of winter? Well, start of winter.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Washington Center on 132.55. Good day.
132.55 for Whiskyfile 1765. Washington Center Whiskyfile 1765 is at flight level 215, descending flight level 180.
Whiskyfile 1765 Washington Center, continue to chops as planned.
Now, in case you're wondering how I plan out these flights, there's a website called simbrief.com, which will actually plot out your flight, give you the waypoints and everything like that, so you can, if you really want to be dedicated, you can punch everything in here. I'm not quite at that advanced level yet. but it is something something pretty cool that you can do. You can also plot it out when you're in the map screen, which is usually what I've been doing. And it's reasonably accurate.
Washington Center, American 1440 is at flight level 2900, descending 10,000 feet.
American 1440 Washington Center. Continue as planned.
Now, the other nice thing is with this livery, the 737 actually is really nicely laid out. Its UV map is pretty straightforward. So I was able to put the whiskey glass on the side as I had wanted to.
Brickyard 5778, contact Washington Center on 13.2.05. Good day.
WSA on the side.
Brickyard 3553, contact Washington Center on 13.2.525.
Actually, I based this off of the Boeing business jet livery. So, just altered it, put my own flares on it.
Going to 132.05, Brickyard 5778.
Brickyard 4544,
that was something I was going to talk about.
on 13.2.05.
So you notice the tires are out on the bottom of the 737.
Brickyard
Now,
3553.
you might think, oh well,
Going to 132.05, Brickyard 4544.
that's probably just a mistake or something like that. No, actually the 737 does fly like that.
Passing flight level 300, descending 10,000 feet.
The wheels protruding out there only creates minimal drag.
Continue as planned.
And
File 1765 descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots. Whiskyfile 1765.
but it avoids them having to put in doors, additional hydraulics for that. They just need it for the wheels. And they just sort of slot in there. Pretty simple solution.
Endeavor 5444, contact Washington Center on 132.05. Good day.
So this here is the Chesapeake Bay. It is, whenever I'm driving to Delaware, this is the body of water I gotta cross over. Usually taking one of these causeways. And it is quite impressive. The problem though with the Chesapeake Bay is that it has very volatile weather. So one day it'll be pleasant and sunny, and well, the next hour it'll be thunderstorms and high winds and everything, and then after you'll be fine. Now what's interesting is we are picking up some of the LOC data here. We shouldn't be yet. So right now we're keeping our speed right about where it should be, 243, 242 knots, not bad. Again, the lady in the tower said under 250, so we were right in line. Because I have no idea where that data is coming from, because you see that right there. It's apparently saying I'm in line. I am not in line with the runway. Not at all. I have no idea where I'm picking that up from. Let's zoom in here to get tracking. I'm lining up with KANP Airport. KANP is Lee Airport in Annapolis. It's a very small airport. Actually, no, it couldn't be that one. That looks too small to have LLC on it. To be honest, I have no idea what it's picking up that data from.
JetBlue 62, contact Washington Center on 132.05. Good day.
Could just be drunk. Not me, I'm talking the,
884 your tree, 8 miles south. Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 15 left approach via Crane transition. Cleared to Crane.
.132.05 for JetBlue 62.
oh, there's very much pressure.
Descend and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 15 left approach via Cranny transition. Cleared to Cranny Southwest 884.
It's not giving me it, or I'm just not reading it. Should be able to see 2968. I see.
1765. Please expedite your descent 10,000 feet.
I'm getting there, lady. Calm down.
Washington Center Whiskyfile 1765 requesting vector to next waypoint.
Southwest 884 contact Potomac approach on 133.75. Good day. Whiskyfile 1765, continue to Navy turning and following heading 215, proceed on course.
Continue to Navy turning and following heading 215, resume on navigation Whiskyfile 1765.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Potomac approach on 124.55. Good day.
Now, METAR data is a bunch of weather data that you can pull from just about any airport. So what we're going to do is we're going to
Going
actually
to 133.75 Southwest 884.
pull our flaps down just a little bit. As you see, for its approach, it is getting me pretty close to the minimum. Basically, it's going to ride that pretty much the entire way in.
Whiskyfile 1765, did you hear my last transmission?
124.55 for Whiskyfile 1765. Potomac approach Whiskyfile 1765 is at 9,800 feet, climbing 10,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, Potomac approach altimeter 29.68, continue to ANCRR as planned.
Yeah, so it's really fighting this crosswind now, which is the headwind we were dealing with before. taking just a little while.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Washington Center on 132.55. Good day.
132.55 Whiskyfile 1765. Washington Center Whiskyfile 1765 is passing 9,700 feet, climbing 10,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, Washington Center, altimeter 29.68, continue to LURL as planned. Whiskyfile 1765, descend and maintain 3,000 feet.
Alrighty.
Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Whiskyfile 1765.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Potomac approach on 124.55. Good day.
Going to 124.55 Whiskyfile 1765. Potomac approach Whiskyfile 1765 is at 9,900 feet, descending 3,000 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, Potomac approach, altimeter 29.68, continue to LURL as planned.
Alright. Come on that. We should be passing BWI. Try to see where it is. Ah, there it is. That's BWI. We'll be landing in on this runway here. Oh. Folks, this could be scary.
1765, you are 10 miles southwest. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 15 left approach via Crane transition. Clear to Crane.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 15 left approach via Cranny transition. Cleared to Cranny. Whiskyfile 1765.
I'm dropping flaps just a little bit. We're going to be cruising through this. A little bit of a rainbow, so we are getting some rain through here. What's interesting is my weather information is not coming up. I'd appreciate it if it would. We should be able to see all the rain that's going to do. Maybe it's not raining. That very well likely could be. It's just very ominous. Okay, so I've got to actually really be on top of this because at a certain point I've noticed that the autopilot will suddenly start to deviate, particularly when I come I'm on what's called the upwind approach. Downwind is when you're coming towards the runway. Upwind approach is when you're going opposite it. And you can see that in my navigation here. I'm basically shooting up here. This is the upwind. Come around here, and then come for the downwind approach. In previous practice flights with this, I've had the autopilot completely deviate. Now at the moment, yes, I'm looking like I'm flying sideways, but that's just because I've got a 63 knot crosswind blowing at me right now, which is ridiculous. Ooh. Oh, we are moving around a lot. All this weather here. There's a plane somewhere. There it is. I should be getting quite slope information from out here, but apparently I am. We're currently at 4,000 feet, 4,200 feet. Should be leveling off. Yeah, I mean, you could see the wind here. Good lord. This is going to be an interesting landing, folks. Hold on to your seats. Make sure you are strapped in, because you can see the clouds moving here. It is a windy day. All it's doing is throttling up to level off. You know, actually we are doing okay. No, we're still getting a 50 plus knot crosswind. So I'm gonna just monitor it, let it do its turn. Actually, turn flaps down just a little bit more. Get our speed arrested just a bit. We are right about the altitude that we need to be at, right about 3,000. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting landing, to say the least. It's now really picking up speed. We're now getting a 50 knot tailwind as we're coming through this bend. I'll be coming in for a final approach shortly.
Whiskyfile 1765 descent and maintain 2,500 feet.
Descend and maintain 2,500 feet. Whiskyfile 1765.
Yeah, let's fly through the big scary clouds. That's always a good idea. That wind is really tossing this plane around. Yeah, we're in New York. We had pretty substantial winds up at the high altitudes. The winds down low were not. I mean, apparently the winds are about 16 miles per hour, so about 25 to 30 kilometers per hour. So these are still high altitude winds, but the fact that we're getting 50 and 60 knots up here is ridiculous. We're just getting buffeted around. Drop landing gear. See what hold this on, which is pretty neat. Alright, so I'm gonna turn on LLC. Where is it? Oh, there it is. What I'm gonna do is drop the flaps low, a bit more, drop it down to 30. Do 35, 40, which is we're flying pretty darn slow. What I'm noticing though is good lord. This is pretty intense. Yeah, you can see the, that's the nose trim. Auto brake. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disengage. Let's see here. And once we come in for approach, it's going to do it after one of these here. I cannot see the runway yet.
You are 11 miles northwest of Baltimore. Contact Baltimore Tower on 119 forward inbound on the approach.
Tower on 119 for Whiskyfile 1765. Baltimore Tower Whiskyfile 1765, 11 miles northwest inbound ILS runway 15 left approach.
Whiskyfile 1765 Baltimore Tower. Altimeter 29.68, wind 22 at 22. Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach.
Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach Whiskyfile 1765.
Southwest 884, turn next taxiway.
So once I'm through this cloud, I'm going to disengage and then drop my altitude a little bit, because right now we're about to come into line with it.
37107 miles north, inbound ILS runway 15 left approach.
Southwest 884, turn next taxiway. Southwest 884, contact ground on 121.9. Southwest 3710, Baltimore Tower. Altimeter 29.68, wind 22 at 22. Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach.
Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach, Southwest 3710.
.9 for Southwest 884. 221 at 22. Clear to land runway 15 left.
God, I can't see anything.
Clear to land runway 15 left southwest, tree 710.
Oh, Jesus, my approach is way off. Diamonds were not helping me.
Whiskyfile 1765, follow the aircraft on final. Wind 221 at 22. Clear to land runway 15 left.
Clear to land runway 15 left. Whiskyfile 1765.
Oh, this is maybe a bit beyond my pay grade. I cannot see. My instruments are sort of lying to me just a little bit.
Southwest tree 710, contact ground on 121 decimal niner.
Baltimore Tower southwest, 13514 miles north, inbound ILS runway 15 left approach.
There it is.
Southwest 1351 Baltimore Tower. Altimeter 29 decimal 68, wind 221 at 22. Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach.
Oops. Get back my control, please. Thank you.
Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach, southwest 1351.
Baltimore Tower southwest 449er 07 miles north, inbound ILS runway 15 left approach. Southwest 4490 Baltimore Tower. Altimeter 29 decimal 68, wind 221 at 22.
Yeah,
Cleared
we're gonna
ILS
declare a
runway
misapproach.
15 left approach.
We're too high. We just were way off.
Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach, southwest 449er 0.
Baltimore Tower Whiskyfile 1765 is going missed.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact Potomac approach on 124 decimal 55. Good day.
One two four decimal 55 for Whiskyfile 1765.
Southwest 4490, wind 221 at 22. Clear to land runway 15 left. Southwest 4871, follow the generic on final. Wind 221 at 22. Clear to land runway 28. Clear to land runway 15 left southwest 4490. Clear to land runway 28 southwest 4871.
Potomac approach Whiskyfile 1765 is missed approach at Baltimore.
Whiskyfile 1765 descend and maintain 3000
approach Whiskyfile 1765 is missed approach at Baltimore.
Whiskyfile 1765, please expedite your descent 3,000 feet.
We just could not see anything. Huh. Well, Italia there. Very funny. Press Alt B, it'll improve graphics. First of all, I'm on ultra settings anyways, so go suck an egg. But second of all, I'm not going to kill my batteries because that's just rude. Internet trolls.
Whiskyfile 1765, climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Whiskyfile 1765, climb and maintain flight level 180.
Okay, my radio's dead. That's all I can say.
Approach Whiskyfile 1765 is missed approach at Baltimore. Potomac approach Whiskyfile 1765 flying to Baltimore ILS runway 15 left published missed approach.
Whiskyfile 176, flight Roger. Flight published missed approach. Advise reaching 2,500 feet for further instructions.
Potomac approach Whiskyfile 1765 published missed approach ILS runway 15 left at 4,400 feet.
Whiskyfile 1765, descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots. Whiskyfile 1765, did you copy?
Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Keep speed not above 250 knots. Whiskyfile 1765.
765, please expedite your descent 3,000 feet. Whiskyfile 1765, you are 500 feet above your assigned altitude. Descend and maintain 3,000 feet altimeter, 29.68.
Descend and maintain 3,000 feet. Whiskyfile 1765.
I have no idea where this plane is going. I also can't see.
Whiskyfile 1765,
Yes, I know.
please expedite your descent 3,000 feet.
Oh, I've crossed this bridge before. How you get over to from Maryland into Delaware, or at least across the Chesapeake into Delaware. But now you can't see it because we're still in clouds. Oh, they actually have the bridge model properly. That's pretty cool. That is really cool. right now are tempting. Turn around to rear approach. Should be, if we don't turn now, I might have to take over. You gonna turn it on? Oh, no, it's turning. Okay. Let's get in its approach. That's good. Winds still have not died down. Weather's still pretty terrible around here. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to take over a bit earlier and then just descend so I can see the runway, because it's clear that the cloud cover is over 1,000 feet. I just can't see anything. Cool shots of the plane there, really say tail. Figure you get some nice shots there of the plane. You know, they seem to have improved the autopilot system in this. I really do wonder if I should just keep the autopilot in control of the plane, or if I should. Maybe if we do a third approach, we'll do that. Yeah, that first approach was just awful. I can't see anything, and I have mistrust in my instruments. They've lied to me before. So, one of my buddies just posted a conversation between a manager and an employee, and the manager says, "I can't keep sticking up for you. I enjoy you as a person, but as your manager, things need to change." Employee says, "I haven't been in late since our talk last week. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong?" Question mark. Person doesn't understand English. Manager replies, "Really? This is from our general manager." General manager says, "He's becoming a problem. Customer said, 'Aren't my kids adorable?' And he said, 'I'm more of a dog person.' Not acceptable." And the other manager says, I'll talk with him." Employee says, "True. I mean, dogs are pretty cool. Give him that." That is pretty funny, though. Flying through clouds and looking at the beautiful Maryland scenery. Granted, if this was clear, it'd be a lot easier, but this is more fun, I guess. Ooh, we're dropping. We're dropping like a rock. What the heck? Okay. What are you doing? Oi. Taking over.
Whiskyfile 1765, you are 900 feet below your assigned altitude.
Yep, I'm
Climb and
aware.
maintain 3,000 feet altimeter, 29.68.
Climb and maintain 3,000 feet. Whiskyfile 1765.
See what I mean by the autopilot sometimes being stupid? So now we're manually flying. We do have the auto throttle, which is helpful. We're still at 2,900, 2,860. We're going to actually come out here onto my original approach. Fly it that way. God, this wind is just wreaking havoc with this aircraft. Yeah, this is taking a lot of concentration. Fortunately, there's only one person on stream at the moment. In case you're wondering, we are in our final approach onto to KBWI, and I'm flying manually. So I'm probably not going to pay too much attention to the chat, but if you want to post funny things, feel free. Oop. Man, I just can't keep this thing stable.
Whiskyfile 1765, you are 4 miles southwest. Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 15 left approach via Crane transition. Cleared to Crane.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 15 left approach via Cranny transition. Cleared to Cranny. Whiskyfile 1765.
Oh man. Be out of the clouds. Just to go right back in. I know we're flying higher than we should. Yep, I'm aware it's dropping a little bit. Shouldn't be. There we go. Yeah, so if you're wondering why this landing is so challenging, it's because I have a 50 knot crosswind right now. And I'm landing in cloudy weather. And I'm not very skilled yet. Getting there. At least navigate. That's good. Hopefully we don't end up on an episode of air disasters. That would be embarrassing. I'm always getting flight director data, that's nice.
2500.
Yes, I know. Calm down. This is my first time flying on the BWI. I do apologize for the lack of scenicness in this, but you'll just have to look out the windows that I have here. Okay. So we're going to loop around for Crean there, and that will be hopefully finally back on.
2500.
Yes, I know. It's dropping. I just want to give myself as long of an approach as I can. Give myself time to descend and think. Now, in case you come to this channel for the
1765 descend and maintain 2,500 feet.
for the whiskey videos,
Descend and maintain 2,500 feet. Whiskyfile 1765.
I did release the first minute review of Toki, or the first minute review for the channel, and then for the Centauri Toki whiskey, which it was a good little video. So a little shameless plug, but feel free to check that out. Hey, we got two people on now. Wonder who all was watching. Watching me make a hatchet job of this landing. There we go. Drop flaps a little more. So yeah, this is the second approach. Hopefully we don't need to make a third approach. Hopefully we don't need to make a third approach because we didn't, because we landed safely and not explode. I like to not explode. I like not exploding. Granted, planes don't explode in this game, unfortunately. As entertaining as that would be, might want to go to the Kerbal Space Program for that kind of shenanigans. Drop the gear. Nope. Drop a little too low. Yes, I'm dropping my my gear a little early. I'm a little optimistic. Actually, lower altitude, which is fortunate. Oh, that is disorienting. See the clouds move like that. We're higher than we should be. Should be down to 2,500. Anyone who's watched this, watched me try and land before, you'll remember the Seattle landing that I did. This is very reminiscent. Goodness, my hands are full. We're good laterally. Still got that crazy crosswind. It's still over 50 knots.
Whiskyfile 1765, you are 11 miles northwest of Baltimore. Contact Baltimore Tower on 119 decimal 4 when inbound.
Come on.
Tower on 119 decimal 4 Whiskyfile 1765. Baltimore Tower Whiskyfile 1765, 11 miles northwest inbound ILS runway 15 left approach.
Whiskyfile 1765 Baltimore Tower. Altimeter 29 decimal 68 wind 221 at 22. Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach.
Cleared ILS runway 15 left approach Whiskyfile 1765.
Alright, drop ourselves down. I want to be able to actually see this runway. We got 22. Well, wind is 221 at 22, which means 22 knots. Pretty much to our side. All this sketchy landing is going to be an understatement. That's down. Flaps are all the way down. See the runway. Trying to get lined up. Yeah, this
1,000.
is maybe a bit above my my skill level here for flying. But hey, there's a pilot on YouTube who says, you know, try and fly challenging things that'll make you a better pilot. Oh good, wanted fog. Fog is always helpful.
Whiskyfile 1765 wind 221 at 22. Cleared to land runway 15 left.
Cleared to land runway 15 left Whiskyfile 1765.
Alrighty. Now it's saying it's basically I'm all 4 reds. I'm too low. I'm aware of that, but I'm just trying to keep it all within visual range. Hey, Mikey. I cannot see
500.
all of your chat there, but
500.
hello, welcome to the stream.
400. 400. 200. 100. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Get it on the ground, get it on the ground. Oh, damn it. Yep, we're going off the runway a little bit.
Whiskyfile 1765, contact ground on 121.9.
Whew. Okay.
Whiskyfile 1765, did you copy?
Yep, I copied.
Going to 121.9er Whiskyfile 1765. Ground Whiskyfile 1765 taxi to the gate.
Whiskyfile 1765, taxi to gate Delta 13 using taxiway Mike Quebec Kilo cross runway 15 left Kilo cross runway 22 Papa.
Like nothing happened. Nothing happened at all.
Whiskyfile 1765, solid last transmission.
Taxi to gate Delta 13 by taxiway Mike Quebec Kilo cross runway 15 left Kilo cross runway 22 Papa Whiskyfile 1765.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to BWI. Local time is 2:46 p.m. Now, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until we are at the gate. And the seatbelt sign is turned off. This will indicate that we have parked at the gate, and it is safe for you to move about this cabin. At this time, you may use your phones, but please keep your personal electronics, such as laptops, stowed in their in the bins or in front of you. And if you have a desktop set up for this flight, well, you're rude to the people sitting next to you. Sorry, I'm just happy that I actually landed. Not the cleanest of landings, but hey, it's a landing. Now please check around your seat for any personal belongings you may have brought on board with you, and please use caution when opening the overhead bins, as that landing was a bit sketchy and things have undoubtedly moved about. Now remember, anything left in the bins that you do not take will be sold for petty cash to later be used for us during this sort of layover here. If you require assistance off the plane, please remain in your seat until all of the passengers have gotten off. And if you've imbibed too much, one of our crew members will be happy to assist you and walk you off the flight. On behalf of Whiskyfile Spirit Airlines and the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you aboard in the near future. And have a good rest of your day. If you want to see more content of me driving in much more competent fashion, please check out TMK44's channel. I believe that's where the broadcast will be. We'll be doing some racing in the south of France, the fictional St. Croix Raceway. It should be fun. It's a EDTM Group 3 race. So like GT3, good fun. And I'm debating on next week what I should fly. Whether it be a prop plane again. The SR-22 is a delightful plane to fly. Or if I should do a long haul flight. Like, because you're in the stream here. Yeah. Hey, I mean, planes used to land on grass. It's fine. Clip the apex quite nicely. Taxing on runways. So I'm trying to peek out from the clouds. Oh yeah, Mikey, I got my first troll. Had that guy Elitalia or whatever. Further in the chat, he tried to suggest me to turn off my batteries. Now I'm smart enough to know not to do that. Plus, I never take any advice from people in the chat when it's just simply a command because I know they're trying to kill me. But it was amusing. And what the heck? Oh. And we can stop. Alrighty. We are in the gate. Everything is great. Yeah. Plus, I know trolls like to troll. So just turning out the lights. I should probably turn on the APU, which means actually I'm gonna pull up the checklist just to have it. All right. APU master switch. Then APU starters. APU bleed was on actually. Oops. Okay, that means I can turn off these bad boys. Engine mode is fine. Let's see here. That's all good. Turn off these. Oops. Up, thank you. Turn off the generators. And well, welcome to Baltimore, folks. And we'll turn off the aircraft. No, actually, APU is still running mid-minute.
D1.
Keep that on then. But, turn to ground services here, connect up the jetway.
Ground Whiskyfile 1765. Could you please connect the jetway to the aircraft?
Whiskyfile 1765, the jetway is going to be connected.
Gonna go right through the tug, because that's how it really works in airports. The tugs are actually just ethereal things. They do not actually exist in the real world. They just move things. They're basically made of antimatter. They do not interact with real matter, in case you didn't know. But there we are, folks. Welcome to Baltimore. I will hop on and get racing, so see y'all later, and have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.